10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. My name is Wack. Today is August 15th, and there's a thing on the screen for those of you who are following along with the Rocket Fuel thread on Discord. You'll see that I posted a video overnight, and it's linked to an old episode of Rocket Fuel, and it says Rocket Fuel August 15th, 2022. So that was the first episode of Rocket Fuel that I did. I'm not going to turn the video on because it's really cringe. It's come a long way in a year, as you'd hope. But today is the 1 year anniversary of Rocket Fuel, and it's really lovely. Like I wrote a tweet earlier about how. Actually, let me just go to that. I wrote a tweet earlier about how. Let me actually just read it out. So I said, today is the 1 year anniversary of Rocket Fuel, where I provide an update on everything that's happening in the Rocket Fuel community. In that time, I've made over 250 episodes of content. It's been a year that has changed my life in the most amazing ways. I said the main thing that I've learned is that you don't own enough RPL. So, it's been an absolutely amazing year, and it has changed my life in the most amazing ways. And I just wanted to take this moment to say thank you to all of those of you who, first of all, provide content for the show, because without all of you, this just wouldn't be possible. And also, thanks to everyone who watches, listens, provides any kind of support or feedback, anything like that. It's been a really, really amazing year, really fun year, and I'm excited to see what the next year brings. In a similar vein, something happened today as well. That's the first time I've ever done it here. I said my Gitcoin Grants application was approved, and you can go to Rocket Fuel. You can give to Rocket Fuel in the current rounds of donations. Here's a link if you're interested, and then there's a link to the Gitcoin page where you can have a look at the round. So far I have one contributor, and I have received $16 in funding. So there's 13 days to go. There's 2 weeks. There's just a little bit of information here about what Rocket Fuel is, and the usual, like it's news for Rocket Pool and Ethereum staking, a little bit wider than that. If you are interested, you can donate using Gitcoin. The way Gitcoin works is there's quadratic funding, so even donating $1 means that from the matching pool, you get an outsized contribution. So that actually works out really beneficially in that sense. So I'm not going to ask too many times. I might just ask 2 or 3 times during this period, maybe every 3 or 4 days. But if you would like to donate and give some money to Rocket Fuel, that would be truly appreciated. Of course, it's not expected. Thankfully, I'm a recipient of the GMC grant, and that is listed in my application here. And also, I get generous donations from other people. And I've it's been amazing. So, if you want to, if you're going to give some money on Gitcoin, then for your consideration, if you want to add Rocket Fuel, you'll be welcome to do that now. It's under the Web3 community and education section, and I think someone was saying that it's on the optimism branch, but I'm not sure if that makes a difference or not. Moving on from that then, so here we have Val's post has now made it onto the forum, where we talked about it last week about how the idea was to move it to the forum so it could spur more discussion. Well, here Val has breakdown of the post and just some high level ideas. Then there's the intro document. Then this is where Val's saying that the forum likely has folk who are different from research on Discord, and we'll see what comes. So here, we're already getting people responding like Cyberhorse saying that he's in favor of Val's proposal, and Phil says, what's the reason behind using 10% per borrowed ETH as a base and model other than we once chosen? So there's a discussion back and forth. Epinef says, I think the proposal is great compared to the current system. I would vote for it in a heartbeat. Here are some of my criticisms. It's somewhat too narrow and optimal linear window for current stage, given our frequent lol 30% drops may cause more opposition short-term volatility than necessary. And then there's other points as well. And then Valdov kind of like shows some points over here. Cyberhorse has some more feedback. Dondo says, any thoughts on whether we want to fund education around how this would work, risk, benefits, etc. Valdov says, thus far, a new, less researchy, high-level document has got a number of positive responses. I think we'll be able to get a feel for our needs better if we see questions on this forum thread. So there hasn't been too much engagement on this on the forum. So if you are all interested in providing some ideas, some feedback, I know for sure that Val would really appreciate that. So what are you waiting for? Get on the forum and provide your feedback. And then Val here says as well, hello fellow research folk, hasn't been much chatter on the forum, and no guarantee that keeps up, but I'd like to find less stuff on the nerd end so we don't block time. And then there's some questions back and forth about people who've provided comments, so kind of want to like have some discussions here a little bit more for those who are interested in like kind of furthering those conversations. So pop into the forum, pop into the thread over here and get those ideas. There's a whole lot of conversation going on, but I think we need more people involved in the conversation. I think that's going to really add a lot of weight to the to some of the ideas that are being floated around and shared. So definitely get involved with that, especially if you have kind of like strong opinions one way or another. Get involved, ask questions, present your points, and let's all talk it out in a really like productive way, because now is the time to do that. I think this is a really important time for us to work together and like really talk out these ideas. So if anyone's like any way, shape or form has strong opinions, come and get involved in the discussion. I think it'll be really important to have those voices. And even if you have questions, you don't fully understand it, come and ask questions. There's a whole lot of patience for people asking questions, as long as it's done sincerely. That would be really great. Okay, next we had this update from Noshua as well. So we talked about, Noshua's idea of changing the rewards tree spec. So here, Noshua says rewards tree spec version 7, and it says following some initial discussion on Discord, I'm proposing 2 changes to the rewards tree spec following the process for rewards tree changes. 1, count mini pools and beacon chain queue like active validators for RPL reward calculation in case there is not a single eligible node at the time of reward snapshot. RPL inflation meant for node operators goes to the pre-DAO instead. So that is an extremely unlikely edge case. I guess the only way that would happen is if some whale like giga dumped like thousands of RPL in the seconds before the snapshot is taken. It would be really weird. But I guess those are the ways that it could happen. But it's a very unlikely situation. But anyway, here Noshua gives the rationale. He says beacon chain mini pool queues, queued mini pools, not counting these mini pools creates a disincentive to reduce bond for nodes with high RPL collateral. I'm sorry, I had a little bit of a cough there. I hope this is not return of the cough. Okay. He says for nodes with high RPL collateral, and if the queue is long enough, node operators reduce their share of RPL rewards when they convert to LEP8. But we do want people to bond reduce, so we are punishing people for behavior that we want. And it says node operator reward edge case. In theory, it's possible for no node all. I'm sorry, I had a little bit of a cough again. Yeah, so here Noshua says node operator reward edge case. In theory, it's possible that no node operator qualifies for RPL rewards. For example, if no node operator meets the minimum test 10% collateral requirement. It says in this scenario, the spec calls for raising an error because the calculation has excessive error. So here there's a sentiment poll. It says, should mini pools in the beacon chain queue count like active mini pools? I say yes, they should. And 97% of people say yes, they should. So it looks like that is going to strongly pass. about a sentiment check. And should node operator inflation go to PDA if there are no eligible nodes? And I think that is 86% yes and 14% no. So here there's some comments from Epinef, from Noshua, and Jasper. So that is really good to see. But I think the next stage for these two would be going to snapshot, but I'm not sure how rewards tree works, because I don't think reward trees go to snapshot normally. They just get done with the sentiment poll. So let's see how that goes and see what kind of work happens with that. Of course, the reward tree spec won't impact us right now because the testing would have to undergo. I'm not sure how extensive that process would be, but I don't think it's going to make it into the next round, for the next rewards period, because that's in like 10 days or 2 weeks or something. With the following period, it looks like the queue would be short enough that actually no, that will still impact people depending on when their bond reduced, but it's only that's fine. Yeah, that's a really good idea. Not sure I really support this, so thank you for sharing those ideas. Okay, next we have this update from Rocknet, who this information might be a bit too old right now, but I figured it's a good idea to share it anyway. So a little while ago I talked about the Holesky Genesis nerds thread on the Discord, and how there's a group of people kind of like organizing to run Ethereum testnet Genesis validators. There was this idea that we'd run like thousands upon thousands of validators in the Rocket Pool community, and Rocket here says, hi everyone, it's part 1 of Go. I've created a coordination spreadsheet, so we can know how far along we are, and we have some info on creating your validator pub keys and how we'll get them into the Genesis state. First, I want to restate and expand on some things Object made mentioned earlier. So here, the requirements are 3 to 5 year commitment. You need a dedicated server just for this purpose. You have a strong internet connection, 50 meg down, 50 meg up. If you're hosting this from home, some technical Linux skills. It won't be as easy as running a Rocket Pool node. And then soft requirements are that you're a well-known and dependable member of the community, and you have some experience / proof that you're able to run validators with high effectiveness. And then there's some more information here, but the main idea is like, if you think that you meet this criteria, then definitely get in touch with Rocknet, and hopefully it's not too late for you to volunteer for this. There's some technical stuff over here about how many validators you should be running and what the limit should be for a single person to run a validator. But this is some really good information here from Rocknet, and I think I really hate to say that the deadline is passed because I missed the episode yesterday, but there was some talk earlier that there was only a matter of minutes left. Yeah, like there's 52 minutes left to add your name to the spreadsheet. So I hope it's not too late. Maybe reach out to Rocknet to see if it's possible. It might be that if you don't get in on Genesis, you might be able to get in at like some point soon after that, but I'm not exactly sure. So if you're interested in doing that, please reach out to Rocknet as soon as possible. Okay, next we had this update from Jasper that I'm covering like really early in the show because I believe it's quite interesting. Jasper says over here that he's sharing a quote from a message that he sent to a person who is a venture capitalist, like a VC. He says this is a response to the idea of, how is Rocket Pool doing / is it worth investing in Rocket Pool right now? So Jasper says here a few reasons. Most importantly, I guess he's answering, why has Rocket Pool not performed so well in the last few months? This is a few reasons. Most importantly, the narrative changed from staking to L2. Rocket Pool peaked in USD terms right around withdrawals, which is exactly what I expected. Since then, we've seen all the LST tokens take a beating while OP and ARB have rallied. I think RPL has exaggerated price movements because of the bonding system. It pumped harder than other LST tokens, but also dumped harder. It definitely is weird. Rocket Pool has grown the most in market share since withdrawals, but it's absolutely not priced in. My guess is that we'll see a return of the staking narrative right around the launch of 4844 in Cancun. I expect the narrative to shift from L2s back to staking for Eigenlayer and Suave. These will both require an EIP that is in Cancun that allows the execution layer to read the consensus layer. However, it's very slept on. That's actually a really good point from Jasper. That's me adding that. Jasper goes on to say, further, the hard fork that follows Dankun should be focused on staking again with the inclusion of forced exits. That will make Rocket Pool far more scalable and secure. Lido also stands to gain from forced exits as it greatly weakens the risk of their permissioned permission nodes. And then Jasper goes and says the institutions have been hitting me up again. So I think this is a really interesting, because there's this idea that in crypto, people say smart money is doing X or smart money is doing Y, and there's a whole lot of evidence to show that even the VCs were, in fact, in a lot of ways more moronic than this idea of retail investors or whatever, versus smart investor VCs and full-time investors. Well, last year showed that they blow up much bigger than the retail in some cases. However, what I think is really interesting is the narratives for the next hype cycle is already kind of coming into place. We all kind of saw how Rocket Pool's token kind of priced fluctuated vis-a-vis the merge, and how things changed at post merge, and then also leading into Shanghai and Atlas with withdrawals. All that period was extremely bullish for Rocket Pool, because staking was taking the front and center seat in that whole period. And then since then, it's very much that people have moved on to L2s. We're in the middle of on-chain summer. The Coinbase stuff is going wild. Optimism is making new, partnerships every day with new Opstack chains launching. ZK Sync, ZK VM, all that stuff is just so big right now. So I really feel the narrative shifted away from staking to layer 2s, like Jasper saying in this message here that we're quoting, and then with the following Ethereum hard forks, it looks like staking is going to be some of the key stuff that's going to be back on those. So I'm really hoping that the narrative will shift again, and I think that's what Jasper's expecting here. But we'll definitely get a good idea of how those narratives are shifting, because all of a sudden everyone will start talking about these things again and talking about how huge they are and how important they are for Ethereum. And I think it's going to be very, very interesting to see how Rocket Pool is going to be positioned in that time. I think we're setting the groundwork now for some really amazing stuff to happen, to kind of take a huge driver's seat position when the narrative shifts, with stuff like mega pools and NodeSet launching and all this other really great stuff. I'm very excited to see how all that's going to play out. Okay, next we have a nice little tale that happened over the weekend of back and forth. So Jasper made a tweet. It was quite premature, and he says, the Rocket Pool Rocket Arb is back once again. Launch a mini pool now and earn immediate 0.25 ETH by expanding the rETH supply. And with the LEB8, it's 3 times as profitable as before. And then right away, Ramana says that's not even true. Well, kind of technically true. And Tim says probably not worth 0.25 ETH. But anyway, that there was this, this idea that the Rocket Arb was back. And just as Jasper makes that tweet, it seems like this address here got feed distributed, which means that we went back over the deposit pool limit. And Jasper says, what does that mean? Who did that? Did someone call this? And Invis replied by saying, yes, someone. And Ramana was emoji with the kind of upset face. Wait, what exactly is the description of this? Fearful face. Noshua says could be anyone. And then where is it? Yeah. So here there's an extra collateral in the thing. Invis shares a screenshot, and it's 16 ETH over or something like that. And then Nosha replies by saying, lol, did someone do it? And then this replies by saying, someone, yeah. And then Nosha says, someone needs to move the excess to the deposit pool. And Jasper says, please no. And Ramana says, is that permissionless too? And Nosha says, yeah. And then someone basically did a hit him saying devs. And then Invis says, those devs are making the protocol permissionless. Shake my head. And then Jasper says F in hell, and Romana says sigh, and then Jasper says F whoever did that, and Romana says who do you think did that, and then Invis says anyway not going to do any more distributes, and Jasper says was it actually you, and then basically and then he's like bro that's effed, and Invis says you guys can handle it. And Jasper was quite like annoyed. Let's just say Tim says Invis hates us, I think. And Invis says it's like 15 ETH, not 300 chill. And then Jasper says, been waiting for this for days. The protocol has literally stopped growing. Invis says you can wait 15 more minutes. And Jasper says, you shit on the closest chance we get. Anyway, that was the whole bit of drama back and forth. I think it was more like for laughs than anything else, I hope. But Invis be trolling, that's what he does. But as far as trolling goes, it wasn't that big a deal. Bossy said, did I just witness Invis get banned again? So it lasted all of 12 minutes. The ARB lasted 12 minutes and then it failed. And then there were some issues with the bot. Anyway, look, the Romana says I gotta go, and then hopefully the bot will be back. But and then it was back. But there was some issues with it, the way it was working. But people did do it, and it was working. There's the bot is actually working right there, so that's really cool. But then there was a new ARB contract. There were some issues, and then it seemed like everything got working again. But the ETH in the deposit pool was over limit again. Roman says I need to test. It failed on mainnet after. Can't test again until the deposit pool goes down. Nosha says what failed? He says the ARB transaction appeared to work on my fork but failed when I dry ran it on mainnet. Just should have worked on the fork. Shouldn't have worked on the fork though. There were some bugs. Good thing gas prices are low. It only cost me $20 to deploy. MF, someone stopped this person exiting the mini pools. Are they done? They only have 14. So there was people still exiting the mini pools, which meant that you couldn't run the ARB. And then today Romana said the ARB is almost back. And then Jasper got really happy because the ARB was back, and it's game on. So let's see if any people have started using the ARB already, because it's possible for you to use that now. So there we go. Like right away we got Rocket Uni ARB started depositing, and then we got I think that's just the one instance so far maybe. But as word gets out about this being available, then you can definitely start using it and making some this is the key part here, right? Like, so as long as the current size and the maximum size are the same, then that's where you want to be. That's the sweet spot. It's when the current size gets higher than the maximum size, which we talked about last week, how that can happen. That's where you don't want to be, because then you have to wait for people to burn rETH, or for basically people to burn rETH. So or people to just start mini pools without taking an ARB, which of course is a lot to ask of people. The ARB is working, and it's looking pretty good. Okay, here Kane had an update saying, good news everyone, get rolls is now working. So there were some issues. We talked about it on Rocket Fuel, where we went on get rolls as it opened, but it wasn't working for me at the time. However, now it all works, so I got my rolls. Here it says, hey there Rocket Poolers, we want to make sure that you're always in the loop for latest and greatest on our server. That's why we set up some awesome notifications for you. So these work now. You just click on the blue buttons at the bottom of this post, and you can get those rolls. So thanks to Kane and I guess Nick on the background, who got all that working. Okay, that's the third time I've coughed today, so I'm really hoping this is not a thing. Rocket Rescue Node here says that the Smartnode version 1.10.1 ships with a new version of Lodestar that is incompatible with the Rescue Node due to a breaking change in the HTTP request library used. We're talking to the devs to get it fixed. In the meantime, if you need the Rescue Node, delay updating or use a different a client. So then there was another update here about the clients. This is from rETH, and they had version 1.12.2. And it had some information here about what was in the update. And then Joe had a post here kind of explaining what's going on, and he says quick updates for you may be interested in the Lodestar notes amendment. It says in the release notes for Smartnode 1.10.1, we noted that Lighthouse will limit its subnet subscription down to 2 as a way to reduce bandwidth usage. The Lodestar team notified us that with their 1.10.0 release, including Smartnode update, Lodestar will follow this behavior as well. Lighthouse did it before, and now Lodestar is doing it. Sorry, and for those of you using it, this may explain some of the bandwidth difference after updating. And then there's new Geth and Teku that are out that are recommended upgrades, so you can manually update them using the tags. And then there's information here about the Bloxroute relay and how it's changing. So there was a tweet link saying that Bloxroute are decommissioning / turning off their ethical relay. So if you have MEV boost enabled and are using Bloxroute ethical relay, so this is the one that was unregulated but had no sandwiching, then this relay will no longer work when you shut it down, and it's going to be removed in the next Smartnode update. So yeah, thanks Joe for providing that update with all that information. Okay, Val had some questions about some governance stuff that was happening, and like update with all the different governance things. He says here there's a question about actually let's just open them and have a look one by one. So Val here says minimum guaranteed time window with non-RPL ratio for reward snapshot known. There's some questions here about how that is calculated or thought about, and there's some replies here, so if you're interested in that, pop in. And then there's another one about allow mini pool deposits while under minimum RPL, and says looking for high level vibes in the forum. And then there's one specific question. So here there's a draft RPIP, and it says excerpt because it's small enough that summarizing further doesn't make sense. So it says right now, if node operator falls below the minimum of 10% staked versus borrowed ETH, they can't add a new mini pool to that node unless they stake enough to reach the minimum and cover the new mini pool, unless of course they make a new node. This means that they're creating an incentive to make stable nodes. This proposal suggests the ability to do a combined mini pool, deposit and RPL stake. This would allow creating a new mini pool even when under the minimum, and remove the incentive to create Sybil nodes, because creating a Sybil node is an inconvenience. We can require slightly more RPL to be staked, such that the node operator moves towards a minimum overall. And then there's some information about there. So Noshua here is giving some feedback. Epinef gives some feedback as well, and Noshua has some replies as well. So if more people want to get involved in that, here there is RPL staking proposal that we talked about already. Then there's another one with a small change to the tree spec that we talked about already. And then here there's GMC results for the about the vote. So that it looks like Ramanda's appeal for the GMC, that looks like it's going to vote, because it's 100% yes with 27 votes. So a lot of people giving feedback saying that sentiments look like it's promising with ease, which is say please review the RPIP soon, so get that ready to go to vote. Noshua here says as well that the IMC period budget 13, have a look to see to give feedback. So there's that point as well. So that's actually from 11 days ago, but it seems like there was a question for the community. The IMC has been providing an ETH denominated amount in incentives for our ETH liquidity, and a split ETH RPL denominated amount of incentives for RPL ETH liquidity. This is nice liquidity because it essentially smooths RPL price volatility away. Do you think we should be reducing these numbers some as the RPL ratio has gotten hit? This could be partial, of course, or should we stick to a smooth choice? And then so that's the question as well, if you want to provide any feedback on that. So yeah, thanks to it seems like Val, Noshua, Epinef, these are people who are really active in the forum, and that's really wonderful to see. But if any of those points piqued your interest, then definitely pop into the forum and give your feedback, because I think it will be really appreciated. Okay. Next we had this update about the churn rate change from the beacon chain queue, and here TJK said a few hours ago the Ethereum validator queue reached velocity increased by 10%, allowing 11 validators to come online each epoch, then 10. This will increase by 1 each time 65,536 validators come online. In other words, it will increase again in 26 days. So that amount, of course, gets shorter by 10% every time. Well, not 10% every time, by that one increase every time, so the percentage gets smaller each time, but it gets shorter each time as time goes on. Jasper says this is actually really great for LSTs, because queued ETH is hurting APR a lot, and this is actually really bullish for ETH competitors, because they're smaller, and as more of their ETH is stuck in the queue, they just can't come online. It's really difficult to do that. So this is actually a really good update, and I hope that the time gets even shorter, and yeah, that'll be really a lot more profitable for node operators to get online or to switch and bond reduce as well. So fantastic stuff. Okay, next we had this update for a question from Nick. Nick, for those of you who don't know, works with NodeSet. NodeSet is, they call themselves a layer 2 on top of Rocket Pool. The way it works is they want to create a system that will allow people to deposit their ETH or their RPL separately, and then those ETH and RPL will get matched with stakers who will stake on their behalf. So basically what you'll do is you'll be able to get a yield on your like if you want to stake your ETH or rETH, they'll kind of like set up marriages on your behalf, and you'll be able to do that. So Nick here was saying, does anyone know any back-end devs with Go expertise looking for a crypto job? We're hiring. Also, if there are any DevOps engineers out there, we may have a short-term project opening that transitions into a full-time role. DM me. I'm not sure said you can try to poach Joe off, and then Patricio says poach Fornax, and Nick says if only they didn't work for protocols we like. And Noshua says you could also consider dropping the Go requirement, and Nick says I wouldn't say it's a requirement, but it's a preference for sure. And then Noshua, of course being Noshua, he shares a screenshot of the listing where it says requirements Go and Bash expertise. Noshua says if you write things like that, expect the people understand it as a requirement and stop looking if they don't have it. So Nick replied by saying basically thanks excuse me, thank you, and he's sorry that he didn't realize that wasn't updated. So yeah, if you have some Go experience, that's a preference. I guess Bash experience is a requirement. Apply for the job. I don't know how their working conditions are with NodeSet, but I know Nick and Wanda, and they're both really awesome people. So if they kind of transition that into their managerial style, then I'm sure it'll be a really cool job for you to have. Yeah, I'm surprised they're not trying to poach Joe away. Next, we have this update from Fornax. Speaking of Fornax, saying the Gravita raised the rETH mint cap today. So rETH is by far the most used LST on Gravita, and I think they increased a bunch of their caps this week. Let's see what we stand at right now. So wrapped ETH is cap 2.5 million. They've minted 1.22 million. That's like whatever. rETH, yeah, it's increased to 7.5 million, and we've used 6.54 million, so that's a lot less. This time I don't think it's going to max out in 4 days. Wrapped STETH is 4.5 million cap, and they've minted 3.5 million. And then yeah, the others are kind of like same as usual. So it looks like Gravita's growth is kind of starting to reach capacity. I guess maybe they might have capacity for 7.5 million Grai worth of rETH at the moment. That might go up to 10 potentially in the next couple of months, but it seems like that's kind of where they're heading towards. With the total collateral, maybe that might settle around somewhere around 40 million USD. I'm not sure exactly, but the growth has been fantastic so far, and huge congratulations for Gravita. I hear the name mentioned in like really, really cool places and like really wide ranging places, so they're doing some really, really good stuff, and they're definitely getting noticed. But I think this next period of growth will really have to be worked for, because it seems like a lot of the growth so far has been kind of organic with some liquidity incentives, but for more growth to come, I think they're going to have to work for it, and I trust them to do that. So I'll definitely keep you all up to date with how that's going. Here there's another protocol called Umee who are integrating rETH, and they say the strength of liquid staking tokens is clear as day, which is why we plan to soon list rETH from Rocket Pool. As the team's Maverick explains, rETH will be just as powerful as working with ETH itself. And then there's a snippet here of a call and I guess a Twitter space, and I think we're going to get a lot more information about that in the coming days, and how that listing is going to work for Umee. And here we have a message from Yana saying, "Good day, I'm Yana from PureFi, a compliance protocol on EVM networks with entirely on-chain configurable rules, AML bot, Synapse, Shafty Pro, and others are amongst our partners. We're currently exploring partnerships with the most decent projects in terms of AML KYC compliance and filtering illicit liquidity. If you wish to protect your firm from regulatory pressure, we offer an incentive program with free of charge packages. Tell me if you're open for partnerships." So Cheers asked them to message Maverick, and I guess they're going to reach out there. I don't know exactly what they're offering, but I think this is one of those reaching out for partnerships thing that isn't really going to be that fruitful for us in terms of alpha, but who knows what it's going to turn out to be. Okay, here there was some really interesting thing that happened yesterday from Patricio Warthalter, who of course most of you know is like one of the largest, or actually the largest RPL holding whale. He says hi, now of course he founded POAP and runs POAP basically. He says, "We're launching a new product, POAP Checkout, with support for credit card payments and looking for a friendly community to try it out. I have the idea of putting a 200 RPL prize to be awarded either to one or multiple winners of POAP Fun Raffle for everyone that bought said POAP with a credit card. Who is going to help me out?" So he says, "I need 5 things. 1, artwork design. 2, drop creation. 3, custody of the prize. 4, planning and logistics. And 5, execution." So right away, RPL Maxi sounds awesome. I could definitely help you out with some of those 5 points. Shifrin says, "Where do I sign up?" And then what Patricio says, "The goal is to do the sale this week and the raffle in September. POAP Fun version 2 is being worked on right now." And RPL Maxi says, "Good stuff. Let me know if I can be of any help." Patricio says, "Can you decide between you who's a good candidate for creating the artwork and ideally having it by tomorrow? It doesn't have to be anything too elaborate. It could be nice if it is though. Just commemorate fiat payments in POAP checkout testing run and some Rocket Pool branding and the date, August 23. Shifrin says, "You got it." RPL Maxi says, "Although I dabble in graphics design, Shifrin is way better than me. We can both try, and Patricio can choose which one he likes better." And RPL Maxi says, "If you're down, Shifrin." Swing Bob says, "I'll participate by buying it." Lee says, "Ditto." And then Patricia says, "The plan is to sell as many POAPs as people are willing to buy at a price of $100 each. The idea being that it's up to 50th POAP, risk return adjusted. It should be reasonable to buy one." And RPL Maxi says, "I'm sure we'll find 50 Gamble Degens POAP friends." So yeah, $100 POAP maybe coming up. And then there was of course the discussion back and forth, and then here Phil Kerr says, "Did you set up a POAP to RPL Maxi?" RPL Maxi says that they were in the process of getting that POAP ready, the $100 POAP. So this was definitely going to be one of the very interesting POAPs that's coming out. And then here's a sample of what the artwork might look like, and it says fiat payments in POAP testing run August 23. and people were already starting to give feedback about how the astronaut should hold a credit card. RPer Maxi says it's supposed to be a credit card, and then there's some other comments back and forth with suggestions. So this is definitely going to be one of those really interesting stories. So I will give you all updates as it goes along. I still haven't decided whether I'm going to buy this POAP or not. I've spent $30 on the POAP before and $20 a couple of times on POAPs before, but this is definitely going to be something for me to think about, especially to use a credit card, linking it to my address. I'm not 100% sure yet, but hey, like if this, supporting POAP, I'll be happy to keep talking about it on the show for the next few days. Okay, so I normally don't cover TA on Rocket Fuel, but this one was really funny. I'm covering it more for the comedy than, for the financial advice, of course, so please keep that in mind. And it says Rocket Pool RPS price could increase by 80%, and it says here's why. So, of course, you've got a catchy headline. And this is from beincrypto.com. So it's a website that I've never heard of before. One of the submitters submitted it, which is absolutely fine. But I just kind of wanted to talk about how these websites kind of work and like how it's total garbage, basically. So here says Rocket Pool bounce insufficient to clear resistance. Oh wait, actually no, I started a bit late. It says Rocket Pool price rebounded on August 9th, validating the $25 horizontal area's resistance. Despite the bounce, it failed to break, and I think it meant support. It says despite the bounce, it failed to break out from a crucial diagonal resistance. The reaction to this resistance line will determine the future price trend is bullish or bearish. So then it's got the price trend, right? Like here's the line. And it said the RPL price fallen under the descending resistance line, fell to 24.46. The green bounce supported it. 25 area is crucial. And then here's where the real beauty starts. It says, if the price breaks out from the resistance line, it can increase by 80% and reach the next resistance at $52. On the other hand, rejection and breakdown below $25 can reach to a 50% drop on the next support of $14. So this is just like, like here you go, guys. There's some numbers I'm throwing around, and whatever mood you're in, you can get that. And then it's just yeah. Anyway, tea leaves, like whatever, like take it if you want, leave it if you want. But I just thought it was funny how they kind of like cover all positions, hedge everything, and they kind of get people to be like, look, I told you so. I told you it was gonna go up by 80% and drop by 50% at the same time. So yeah. Okay, next we have this interesting news from Europe came today that they launched their first spot Bitcoin ETF. Now, those of you who are following the SEC stuff know that Grayscale suing the SEC. Also, a whole bunch of huge companies have put forward their spot ETF applications, and it looks like there's a chance that it'll be approved in Europe and the US. However, Europe of course got ahead of the US and is now offering a Bitcoin spot ETF product. If you are interested in that, please why are you investing in Bitcoin? But hey, there you go. It's available for you now, I guess, in certain products like that. Okay, finishing up the episode with a couple of things. Here's one of these things. Dybsy here shared some pictures from his wedding over the weekend, which was really lovely. It looked absolutely stunning. Like I was so happy for Dybsy and Bree, and people had a whole lot of love for the couple, and it was really lovely to get those pictures, and for people sharing all their well wishes. And finally, as well, this weekend I traveled a little bit, which is why there wasn't an episode yesterday. And one of the things that happened while I was on my travels was I met this person right here, who some of you might recognize as Jasper. It was absolutely wonderful time that I spent with Jasper, and we got to hang out for a little while and like just talk about a whole bunch of things, and also Rocket Pool stuff, which was really amazing. We both kind of decided that no one owns enough RPL, so that was really great. Also, for some of you who might notice that I was doing like this squanch look, which is kind of like you close your lower eyelid a little bit. Yeah, I've not been practicing that at all. There's a joke there that you might have caught if you were in trading on Saturday, but yesterday as well, on Monday, I saw Patches, which we forgot to get a selfie together, but it was really lovely to see Patches as well. And yeah, it was always lovely to meet Rocket Pool people, because they're some of the best people. So I'm going to end on that really positive note, and I hope you all enjoy this mega episode. That's like 5 days worth of stuff coverage. I'll be back to hopefully a regular episode tomorrow, and then back on track going forward for until next week, which is when I'll be traveling for 3 weeks. I'm still going to be making episodes, but they'll be every second day most likely instead of every day. We'll see how things go while I'm traveling, but once my travels are done in the middle of September, I should be on a 5 episodes a week cadence for the foreseeable, so that'll be nice for everyone involved. Anyway, I hope you all have had a lovely weekend, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.